M-Tuition, sponsored by Total Accuracy, probably the best guitar jam tracks in the world.
Welcome to M-Tuition and welcome to the drumming module. I am gradually improving. It's taking a very long time. I've decided now that being a drummer is not going to be a future career for me. But Mr. Graham Fox, as a professional, hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
It's nice to see you again.
And you?
Now we've done 13 episodes. We've done quite a lot.
Yes.
We've covered everything from different grooves, exercises, fills, learned about the anatomy of the actual drum kit. So pretty much, we're getting on our way there. What have you got in store for us today?
Today, well, I thought we'd just strip everything right back and talk about using the hi-hat in different ways just to get different sounds out
This little
of
baby
it.
here.
Yes, because we haven't done too much with our left foot yet. The only time I've actually brought it into play is when we were doing the four-way coordination exercises.
That's right,
using it then. We're actually going to learn about how you can get different sounds out of it today.
Okay.
But before we do that, let's just go back to the 16th note with two hands like that thing that we were doing at the end of last lesson and just finish that off. Make sure that everyone's practiced it and had a go at it. So I'm just going to run through that and then I'll get you started on the open hi-hat things that we're going to do. Okay, so the exercise was bass drum on 1 and the and, snare on 2 and the then snare on E of 3, bass drum on and, snare drum on 4, and it will look like this. Hopefully everyone's practiced and can play along. Okay? 3 E and 4 E and So that's it. Just quickly, while I'm thinking about it, a few variations that you might want to try in your own time.
Okay.
Try keeping all the snares, the left-hand snares down here, but keeping them really quiet, and then playing the accents when they come up. The accents being the notes within the groove, so the bass drum and the snare drum. Just the snare drum accents. So there's a couple that you'll play in the left hand, the rest will be the right hand, and it would sound like this. And that's really nice. If you speed it up, you'd get this kind of thing. That kind of thing, which sounds really cool. Then try thinking about coming up to the ride, as I showed, I think, last lesson. This kind of thing. It's the same movements every time, but you're just moving your hands around the kit, so you get this kind of thing.
Cool.
And just mucking around, see what we come up with, maybe moving the right hand around a bit so that you end up playing the toms, like this sort of thing. Just using your toms. Experiment. Have some fun with it.
Yeah, great stuff. Absolutely brilliant.
So just things for people to... I'm sowing the seed, really, rather than going through
as
all
long as
that.
you've got your hands and your sticking right.
Yeah, exactly. It should all fit nicely. So we're going to backpedal a bit groove-wise, and we're going to go back to a really simple groove and just talk about what you can do with the hi-hat to accentuate different beats or try and make it bigger. If you're playing in a rock band, you'll often... hear the drummer just loosening off his or her foot and getting that sort of trashy open hi-hat sound like this, which I've shown in the playouts at the end of the last couple of sessions, just leaving it really loose and open. Now, things to be aware of when you're doing this are, first of all, if you take your foot right off, well, keeping your foot there but just letting it right up, you'll get this kind of sound. Now, if you're thinking rock and roll, that's not really going to happen,
It ain't rock. It's a bit like me.
Yeah, it's not really what
Bit
we're looking
wimpy.
for. So you're looking for the two cymbals that on the hi-hat to actually kind of rub together basically and sizzle. Okay, so that kind of sound is what we're looking for. And usually I'd get my students to play with the tip of their stick on the hi-hat, as we talked about. You remember the crash? You would play with the shoulder of the stick rather than the tip, so that you get a bigger sound. So rather than that, you get this. Now when you're playing open hi-hats, bearing in mind that this is going to be a big section in a rock song, think about using the shoulder of the stick. And actually, this is the one time that I would say lay into the hi-hat. And what I mean by that is keeping your stick there, because what actually happens as you do that, it keeps the hi-hats together as well, so that it actually makes a big sound. So you get this kind of thing. And it's really broad, nice big sound. Now, you can experiment yourself, and however you like to play it, it's up to you. But that's what I'd recommend, just to get a really big sound. So we're just going to get used to controlling the hi-hat. And what we're going to do is play, say, 2 bars of groove with the hi-hat closed, and then open it up. And just play 2 bars with it open. And get used to the sound of it. So if I demonstrate it, you get this kind of thing when it's closed. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and open it up. So if you're thinking, we will, you want that big sound, right? It's a big, so you just open it up and lay into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So dynamically, you've got to always try and balance your instruments up. So there's no point having this really massively loud and this underneath, where you can barely hear the snare drum. It's all got to balance up. So if you're playing big here, everything else has got to be big. And likewise, if you're playing this really quietly, everything else has got to be quiet, so you're not doing this. And really laying into the snare. You know, get the balance right between the instruments, and that goes across the board, you know, with whatever groove you're playing. Really try and listen to get a good sound out of the drums. Balance it all up.
Yeah, because you don't want to be like not hearing these and smacking these, or the opposite way around.
Exactly.
It's just not going to sound right, is it?
So let's try that exercise. 2 bars of a basic beat, and it doesn't really matter what you do, but then just try opening up, okay? And we'll do it together.
What
just
beat would you like?
Whatever you like, really. Let's just do a bit of jamming, shall we?
You start.
Let's see. Okay, I'll start. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now open it up. Okay, right. Now exactly what you've just done there. First of all, we were playing the bass drum and the snare drum together. It sounds a little bit like reggae.
Okay.
Okay, so try and get them. If you're playing,
I
it's
always
not very
seem
rock
to do
and
something
roll.
completely different. This is, as I said, the Sam Rankin show now.
So bass and snare drum going in opposites.
Da, 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 da.
That kind of thing with the left hand, exactly. Now when you're playing the open hi-hat, you let it go too far. So just literally just try and relax your toes so that it's staying, that's more like it. And think about using the shoulder of the stick. Bit closer. So that the pedal, so that now you're talking. And
Okay.
even a little bit more close together. All right, and keep the stick there so that it forces them to rattle together. So it's really something that you have to sit there and just experiment from here. That's more like it. And if it's too tight, you'll get this sound, and just gradually open it up a little bit. And what you're looking for is the sound to last all the way till the next note, basically. So if you've got it, you don't want it to go like that and then get to the next note. You want it to keep it open so that the sound travels right to the next note. And don't worry if sometimes it doesn't really come out right. Just readjust your foot and get used to how it feels. Okay, so just back to the 2 bars of each and see how you do with the opening. When it gets to the open hi-hat, I'm going to leave you on your own so I can hear what you're doing. Okay, here we go. Now remember, bass and snare in opposites, alright? So, exactly. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now open it up.
Oh, goodness me. Sorry, I'll do that again.
2, 3, close first. Just relax your toes. Bass, snare.
Still a bit too wide,
Little bit
wasn't
too
it?
wide,
But it's
but
just learning to relax.
Exactly,
your foot slightly.
exactly. And there's actually a tension thing on a lot of hi-hats pedals. You'll get a tension wheel kind of thing, and you can screw it up and loosen it off so that it actually makes the pedal react differently. So
It's just kind of
it's-
going.
Yeah, the tightness
It's not
of the
quite relaxed. It's just kind of leaning. Yeah.
yeah. But it's just getting used to it, really.
Practice, practice, practice.
Exactly, the same old thing over and over again. Just round and round. Let's go round that. I'll leave you to it when it gets to the open bit.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 and 4 and. And open it up. There we go. That's good. That's the idea.
Kind of. Right, okay. We're going to the break now. I'm going to bash out these. I can do this, finally. Yay, hooray. So after the break, we're going to be looking at
Other ways of using the open hi-hat.
fantastic. And then you're going to play us out again, aren't we?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. We will see you after the break. Get a cup of tea. I'm going to thrash. See you later.
M-Tuition is sponsored by Total Accuracy. M-Tuition is sponsored by Total Accuracy.
Hi, welcome back to M-Tuition and the drum module. Now, before the break, we were looking at opening the hi-hat whilst playing. It was quite difficult because I ended up opening it completely open rather than just a tiny bit and relaxing my foot. But during the break, I've been practicing, so can I show you what I've done?
Go ahead. Pretty good. Bass drum and snare drum occasionally clashing, but
See,
the open hi-hat, which
try
we're
my
meant to be
best.
working on, was pretty good.
okay, we at least practiced. That was
Yeah.
the main thing. At least I was
Yes,
practicing.
you did.
Okay.
No tea for you. So that's kind of useful for heavy, rocky kind of stuff, and anyone that likes to play punk, that's a familiar sound to them because they'll be kind of doing this kind of thing. All that kind of stuff.
Ooh.
Loud. My students love to do that kind of stuff. But what we're going to do now is slightly more controlled, I like to think. Using the hi-hats just to accent, or it sounds like it's accenting a pattern. So this is, you might have heard this in kind of disco or house or even garage kind of music, or just funk or anything really, but commonly in sort of the disco thing where you get this kind of thing.
Yeah, I recognise that.
You know, house, and then the kind of the garage thing, the kind of all of that kind of stuff. So we're just dealing with single open sounds rather than just that constant trashy sound, which is a really rocky thing.
That kind of stays there and hurts your head.
Yes. So we'll do a few hopefully reasonably simple exercises, and again we're just going to keep with really simple beats because we just want to concentrate on the left foot working, and it's really hard when you're trying to juggle right foot, left foot and both of your hands and get them all working and get nice sounds out of the instruments that you're playing. So the first exercise we're going to do, which again just check out the visuals, is opening the hi-hat on the and of 3, okay, on its own, right? So when you see it on a score or something, usually the open hi-hat will be signified by just an O.
Okay.
And then when you close it, it has
Let's get that.
a plus.
Okay.
But the pluses generally mean closed, okay? So it looks the same as the and in the 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a, but if it's just over the hi-hat on its own and it has come just after an O, you can expect it to mean closed again.
Okay.
So the beat's going to sound like this. We're just going to keep it really simple. Bass drum on 1, nothing else on the bass drum, and then snare drum on 2 and 4, and open hi-hats on and of 3. So if we can just check out what's going on with my feet, that'll be really good. Okay. So it's going to sound like this: 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you'll notice that I open it up on the and close it back down on beat 4. So let's just see if you can get that. So it's not so necessary, you don't have to lay into it with the shoulder of your stick now because it's a different sound that we're looking for, but you can either play it on the top or the shoulder, but again we're still looking for it to kind of sizzle a little bit. Okay, so should we do 1 bar each, do that thing where we trade? Give it a go.
Look of fear again.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, open, closed. Good. Just with the snare on 4, but that was
I
cool.
just thought I'd end in the snare at the end, just for the sake of it.
All right, now let's just try putting in a bass drum with the open hi-hat. Now this is going to get a little bit tricky because as your right foot comes down to play the and of 3, the left foot will be going up. So it's a little bit like driving a car if you're old enough to do that, because if you push the accelerator, your clutch comes the other way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you're going to do them in opposites. So it's a little bit like walking really, and then it closes back on 4. So if we get, again, just looking at the feet, it goes like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. So an exercise to practice, because this is hard, is just literally doing this. So your feet are working in opposites as you hit, and all the time really working on trying to get the sound right.
Yeah,
so you're trying to focus on the sound. So you get this, and just do it as slowly as you need to with the bass drum. So with the bass drum as well, you get. That's the idea. And remember, think about, you don't have to do it, but think about keeping the shoulder of the stick on
That's
the
what
hi-hat.
that's what I was doing actually. Thinking about three
Thinking
different
very
things at
hard.
once, which is very hard for me.
So should we go back to the beat? And
Yep.
that's an exercise you can practice, just getting used to going like this. So the left foot coming up, and when we put it, you've got it. Okay? So trying that again, we'll get this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just put the snare drum straight after the open hi-hat and you've got it finished.
Yeah.
Try it again, 1 bar each. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Snare straight after the hi-hat.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, again, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. 2 and 3 and snare. Good. With the bass drum this time. Bass there.
I did do it, just on the side.
Yeah, that the getting used to that is
It's
all about
yeah,
practice.
and
Again,
like you
it's
keep
just
saying,
doing, you know,
oh.
it's just that word keeps coming up, doesn't it? But it's just that.
Well, it's absolutely true, and you know, I'm actually having pretty much a crash course in this drumming, and you know, it's really, really difficult. And if I had a kit at home, I know that that's all I'd be doing at the moment.
Yeah.
Which, Mum, birthday next year.
So you can basically set yourself a target of just working through the beats. We've only done and of 3 with this. I'll just quickly demonstrate that you could take a simple beat, and it doesn't, the beat can change, but just thinking about trying opening on beat 1, on the and of 1, on beat 2, on the and of 2, and just going through all of them. So you might get this kind of thing, 3 and 4 and. And just working through every single option that you've got and getting used to opening it. Then trying 2 in a bar, so you might go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And what I did was set it up with a bar of just basic groove. The reason I did that is to give yourself time to recover.
Absolutely.
If you've made mistakes. So it's just, you know, give yourself time. There's no need to just punish yourself by doing the same bar over and over again. Release is good. So you've got the tension in having to try and get it right, but then you just go back to something simple. Just groove on it a while, get comfortable, calm down.
I mean, have you ever, I mean, I don't know if you've seen me in any of the modules, but I've actually been quite relaxed into it. And this one, I've really found it quite, I think it's because I'm really enjoying it as well and I want to do it right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've seen the look on my face, just pure fear. But I'm absolutely loving it. It's great to actually be able, because when you've done it and you actually get to do a groove and you can feel it, it's such a good feeling when you're doing it, you know, carrying the rhythm and everything.
Absolutely. So you can make it as complicated as you like once you've got it. So for example, we could take that beat that we did a while ago, which was this one, and start putting in some open hi-hats. So you might get this.
You're an absolute genius. Well, guess what? It's that time again. Yes, we've run out of time. It just goes so quickly. It's just, I'm having a great time, and you know, thank you so much for teaching me all these. So you're going to play us out with some rock,
Yes.
I do believe.
No, I think I was going to do a bit of disco today.
Okay, disco. We'll see you soon. See you the next module. Bye.